This video is extremely, extremely important. This might be the most important video you're going to see about gang stalking in your life. First of all, notice the psychosocial. Psychosocial. 480 million views. Look at this Slipknot concert right here, right? Slipknot, right? Hanging somebody, right? And knot. Slip the knot around their neck. You know, they want a person to be their slave. They're gay slave, they're conservative, liberal, you know, depending on what group the fool chooses if they choose down. Okay, look at all these people. Okay, 17 million views on this video. 364 million on this video. Duality. The concert, con. Psychosocial. Here we have a jackass, right? It says, keep God out of California, the state I lived in. State I'm born in, state I live in right now. Keep God out of California. That's what these bootlicking devils are saying. Notice it says jackass. The way of the fool versus the way of the wise. That leads me to this picture. Vader is based on a samurai. See the helmet, right? Samurai, Kuro Obi, black belt, right? Karate, black belt. Oh, Igbo is my tribe, okay? Igbo is Obi spelled backwards. Okay, there's two ways to spell Igbo commonly. I-G-B-O and I-B-O. Okay. Also, Obi in Igbo, the Igbo language, means King, Heart, Hut, Essence, Center, Core. Christ. It can mean elder. To Satanists, it can mean witchcraft because they're trying to cheat me. Right? It's just like West African juju, right? It means plaything or witchcraft. Pharmakeia means poisoning. Okay. Now, why at 15 does Skywalker, right? Luke Skywalker resemble Horus the Skywalker, me, right? Christ, Horus the Skywalker, the idea of the Son of God, and it's in various cultures where they try to depict them like them, right? We see the later versions of Horus, they're short, like, you know, a Middle Eastern person or something. The later kingdoms, the later dynasties, right? The Assyrians, the Babylonians invade, but even before that, okay, they kind of liked what they saw in Egypt and invaded later. They had parts of town and cults there, almost certainly. Now we look at this here, okay? Why? Because Babylon, baby line, Rothschild, child, Babylon, baby line. Now, what are the odds that all these words are a coincidence? Detectives solve cases of occult killers, like the Zodiac Killer, okay, with less obvious wordplay and clues than that. There's no other way to look at it. No other way. And notice, at 15, I could beat Luke Skywalker's ass, outmaneuver him, stab him to death, you name it. Okay? At 15 years old. When he's 23 in this picture, in this movie. Think about that. So, is there argument that I want to be him and I've lost my mind? Or is it obvious that he wants to be me? And there he has wearing all black like the color of a shadow. Shadow psychology. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's go over here. You say, well, I'm not convinced yet. Okay, let's go over here. Slipknot, the devil in I. Notice Palpatine looks like the devil, right? Looks like the devil. Okay? And it says, and it's going to be back here, you see these guys dressed in like a red ceremonial satanic robe. Okay? Now over here we have the guards. These are famous guards from the movie Star Wars. They're guarding the Emperor, right? The Emperor's Imperial Guards, right? Western imperialism, the Imperial Guards. Over here it says, I am the Senate. You know, they try to scapegoat liberals, try to scapegoat conservatives, but it's all of them, right? He controls the whole thing. It's the empire, right? He controls all the parties. They're puppets and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, you see, they're using some kind of martial art weapons and stance. Okay, so the martial arts is overkill. Palpatine is a martial arts of sorts. And he's a sorcerer too. Okay? And the Bible says outside the gates are the sorcerers. And of course, Luke is a gospel of Jesus. Okay, and Luke Skywalker. So the Horus and the Skywalker are connected. And of course, they edit my picture, make my neck look long, and to take away from my, you know, and there's a lot of English people have long necks, and they have certain features like that. You look at Luke's neck very carefully. It's like it's long, right? So they try to make it so I seem more like them. So part of this is naturally they're trying to resemble me. Naturally, how I look when I'm younger, and part of it is they slightly edit it to make it so I look like them. They edited the picture. And they replaced the original pictures in my house to also look more like him. You can't make this up. Okay. Now we go over here. And of course, duality, right? They think that you accept evil, right? And they say out of the darkness comes a light, and all this new age, light worker, occult, sex cult, corporate garbage, okay? Kind of Keith Rainier kind of nonsense. Okay. Not that he necessarily said it that way or not, but I'm sure you can figure out the connection. Okay. Mega death. Okay. Mega is game, scrambled, and death, right? Set, right? The Sith. The Sith and Set. The death and Set. Okay. A deity of the dead, the desert, right? There's no life there versus the fertile land for Horus. Okay. And Set was said to be associated with the color red. Because when you're white skinned and you're not, you're a foreigner, right? It's a deity of foreigners, and you go into the desert by Egypt, and into Egypt for that matter, your skin turns red. Okay? Now, and it says whites is a play on words for why set. Now, again, in the Bible it says the flesh means nothing. That doesn't mean because you're white that your default go to hell, but after I'm gone, everyone by default goes to hell. You see what I'm saying? There's no path to go to heaven. Okay? We'll get to that. It has everything to do with this picture right here, right? The trajectory that they're showing, right? It says, peace sells, but who's buying? And they want people to sell their soul. They're going through the motion trying to get me to sell my soul for them to not be so harsh on the planet. When the flesh means nothing and the principles mean everything is something I'll obviously never do. And they want you to be like, why doesn't he just do what they say and act like an idiot and a bitch who doesn't understand principle? And why did 60 million people die in World War II? Because principle is more important than human life. Okay, even to people who don't have principles, who are killing each other for some globalist, war profiteer garbage. Okay, so again, you have this jackass who says keep God out of California. We have these evil 9 remix, right? Look at the faces they're making, common faces in society. We see lots of people look like this. Psychosocial, right? Okay, and then he says psychosocial, right? Psychosocial. It's a play on words that the person who made the word made before these guys used that word in their official video that has 480 million views. So when we talk about satanic ritual abuse, they say, well, duh, there's a bunch of occultists and cult-themed secret societies in America. Historically, a lot of them are obviously hate groups. Okay, there's biker gangs, there's corporate groups that use those symbols. It is, well, duh. Okay, that's like, to act like there's not a bunch of Satanists everywhere is like acting like, that the military doesn't exist or something. Or that the sky doesn't exist, right? It is insane. Okay? Yes, there's a bunch of Satanists everywhere. Some kind of joke about it a little bit more. Some are more serious. Some are psychopaths. Excuse me. Some are, they're all psychopaths in a sense, but some are, on the spectrum. Some are more serious serial killer types. Okay? So we see Slipknot. Look at all the masks they're wearing here. Evil rock and roll. Look at the fallen angels. They're riding bikes, right? Motorcycles, and they tend to have thick jacket on, right? Because they're not like indigenous people or indigenous Africans or Americans or what have you, where they're sensing things and using sense. They're using brute force and psychology. This is a recurring theme. We'll get to that. We'll see that I'm right about that. We'll get to that. Now we see, here's the Church of Satan with Anton LaVey back in the day, and these females, and I cut out their butts, they have a lot of naked pictures. They're bowing down to them, right? They're seeking to control sexual behavior. It's in San Francisco. A lot of homosexuals were involved in it, LGBT people, and they're trying to control attractive women to kind of get people to do it their way, like, prisons where people are getting turned out into gays, churches. We see these stories all the time, okay? The Southern Baptist Church, okay, all the and the French church clergy, and just the other day there was the Maryland investigation. This is on and on and on and on. This has been happening my whole life and before. Just sexual abuse studies, child abuse statistics. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men were sexually abused before the age of 18. Centers of Disease and Control. Here we see the manifest destiny BS going on. Here we see LGBT people trying to take over martial arts, and then you see all the gay actors. Scott Adkins, gay Kiss. Van Damme did ballet, and you see the gay Chuck Norris pictures and Bruce Lee and so on and so forth. Okay, you see kind of magician, ooh, witchcraft, ooh, magician's helper, right? And we see all these females acting strange. We see the puppet master and so on and so forth. It's such a part of popular culture. It is not logical or scientific to say that I'm connecting random dots and I believe there's hidden message or something. That's not what's going on here. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence that shows that it's in popular culture, and it's also the statistics of the crimes and the abuses that are taking place also scream louder than any proof ever that this is what's taking place. There's tons and tons of horror movies and evidence of cult-like activity in corporate groups and sex clubs and sex cults and on and on. And there's tons of porn, and people are turned out and beat and raped to become porn stars and pimps. There's tons and tons, thousands and thousands of satanic rock groups and bands trying to, get put into game and so on and so forth. And there's tons of Greek society, fraternity, sorority people. Okay, there's tons of black people in prison. And there's more black people under some form of correctional control than black people who were enslaved in 1850. And of course, not long after that was the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, there's tons of evidence of scientific racism. There's no way around that this is what's going on. We see a group is called Sabotage. We see psychosocial, right? Psyops, right? This group, this album at least is called Sabotage, and they're made in the image of Lucifer. Right there, the gender-neutral Baphomet Lucifer. We see how the Satan kind of goes along with their general theme, right? They're themed and modeled after Satan. They're Satanists, okay? We see here, again, evil music. It's called heavy metal, and they're wearing armor. Armor is a form of heavy metal, so to speak, right? They're weighed down by armor. They're not using speed, right? God's speed, faster and master, strong and wrong versus faster and master. And when you see some of these guys are skinny ghosts, they're like, well, we can't move that fast, so we're going to be like, oh, and act like bitches and want to have our way, and they want to be in charge. So this guy has some kind of gun, so cowboy, okay? Scientific weaponry, okay? And there's other images of military guys and so on and so forth, okay? Knight in armor, right? Police in armor, okay? That's what it looks at first glance, but you look carefully, it's actually people wearing some kind of cult outfit with a money sign. Okay, it's kind of optical illusion going on there. Here we have Slipknot, right? It says wait and bleed. It says wait and bleed, right? This group, Megadeth, right? And these guys are all part of the same genre of music, genes and genre, gene R. Okay, Slipknot, wait and bleed. It says if you don't take action, that they're going to torture you to death, right? Horror what? Horror. They say horror, we're going to start acting like this. And he looks like some kind of skinhead, some kind of military guy, some kind of horror movie guy, some kind of psychopath, some kind of inmate, right? They're saying they're going to use their massive inmate network. Now, why wouldn't the state expose this? Because obviously they're in on it, okay? And it's the occult, what is hidden in the culture. Culture, and occult. O is the reproductive cycle. They're trying to force you, it goes back to sexual control. Eugenics is about sexual control. It is the control and the agencies that have to do with social control for improving and impairing the racial qualities of races. And here we see their poor racial qualities is their argument with the skinny Baphomet guy, with the kind of inbred, rednecks and what they would call, trashy people of their race, whether I agree or not. And here we see, the armor. He's a knucklehead. He's not a martial artist. He uses his head again. Vader, when he became evil, started wearing armor. Okay, and we see, the Emperor's sickly sort of stuff. Darth Maul has this sick, evil way about him, and so on and so forth. Okay, and he looks like a devil. And it says, "Wait and bleed," the dying song. It says, "You're going to die if you don't assimilate." So it's aimed at anyone who doesn't do it the West way. Okay. And of course, Megadeth, they're like celebrating and mocking all the Japanese who died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki when Big Boy and Fat Boy bombs were dropped. They're called Big Boy and Fat Boy. And go on and on. If you don't know that I'm right by now, I assure you, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, what the hell? Okay? And if you're going to play social norms, okay, and you're going to act like I'm an idiot, and I'm going to have to insist that I'm the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon, and have a top martial arts challenge, which makes me like the smartest person that ever lived, the average person or better would be able to understand that. So you're telling the smartest person that ever lived that I'm fucking wrong, and you're right, and over something I've been researching my whole life, and that's fucking laughable. Thank you.